we'll do our team of the season for this season. We could have done it last week, like everyone else seems to have done, but we thought we'd leave it till the end.
Yeah, it makes more sense, I think, to wait until the season is finished.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, in fairness, what difference one game would have made to pulling players in? I don't know. For me,
it depends. If Arsenal won it, I mean, you could like put certain players in. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. I think we're going to have a lot of similar players here, but I do think there's going to be a few differences. So
to be fair, the team of the season, I don't see it being any other way. Really, I think I've got on there.
No, I definitely think we'll have some different.
All right. Okay.
Just as a starter, what formation have you chosen?
I've just done a 4-2-3-1, so 4-3-3.
Yeah, so I've done the same.
I just thought it would be easier than what Carragher did and went 3 at the back for some strange reason.
I think you could do that because I don't think the fullbacks have been different level. You could put 3 centre halves in, but I'm happy putting the fullbacks in. So I'm putting
fullbacks in.
Okay. We'll go position by position then, and I'll let you go first on the goalkeeper.
Okay. So the goalkeeper for me, no, I don't think anyone's put him in this, but I'm going Pickford.
I've gone Pickford as well. But maybe that's not a surprise, especially if you listen to the pod or watch the videos. I'm a big fan of Pickford. I feel like you're quite a big fan of Pickford.
I like Pickford.
I think, obviously, you look at David Raya because he won the Golden Glove.
I know, you can't always do the Golden Gloves, can you?
I think you could pick him. It's viable, but obviously he's played some. I know Ramsdale still played some games. And Pickford, to keep as many clean sheets as he did in that struggling Everton side, they were up against it all year, really.
Like you said, he's the main man for Everton as well. And he's the reason why him and Dyche, obviously, are the reason why Everton have stayed up.
I think, and Pickford's been pivotal to that the last 2 times they've been close to relegation in the back-to-back seasons. And I look at him, and I know there's a case that you can make for a couple of the other players that are coming through that are half decent. But if there's their star man, which doesn't sound right for a goalkeeper, if you're going to say who's Everton's star man, to me it's Jordan Pickford.
Yeah,
it genuinely is. So he gets in on that basis that he's always a standout player to me. But in a season where they've really struggled again, they've also had the points deduction, which maybe you take that out of it because that's got nothing to do with the football. If you added them points on that they lost, they would have been a lot more comfortable in the league. But obviously, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd have been a bike. They were up against it for a lot of the season, and he's played a pivotal part in that for me.
Yeah.
And I think it's more impressive for his clean sheets than Raya's when he's got such formidable defence in front of him. So.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure his clean sheets were 13 anyway, so it's still quite good going, that.
Yeah, no, it's still decent. And you look at the fact, that's more than what Man City kept this season. Or the same, I don't know. Might be the same. But like I say, they were leaking goals a lot this year.
Yeah.
So, but to the fact that some top teams didn't get that numbers and Everton did.
Yeah, he did get 13, just checked.
Yeah.
That's good, that.
I remember, I think it was 13 last week. Obviously, they got the game today and they didn't keep clean sheets. So
yeah. Obviously, I've seen a few people have put Martinez in there, which you could have had. But for me, I think Raya probably makes it before Martinez.
You could probably argue the case that Martinez, that's like saying, if he wasn't injured all season, it's like saying Alisson, Edison, Martinez. You could argue that they might be better goalkeepers, but who's had the best season?
Yeah.
And for me, it was only out of Jordan Pickford or David Raya.
Yeah.
I do think Martinez has been good, but I've got to give it to Pickford. It was an easy one for me, to be honest.
Okay, my right back, I'm sure you'll know who it is because I absolutely love this guy. Pedro Porro.
Yeah, I've not gone with him. I don't dislike the shout.
Don't you dare say an Arsenal player.
It is an Arsenal player.
Oh, he's so bad.
It has to be in.
He's so bad.
I think Porro levels have been very good all season, but I've got to give it to Ben White.
No,
I don't really even like him that much.
He's not even a right back.
But I think this season he's played well at right back all year.
Yeah, but I think that's just the system.
Maybe it is, but he still gets in. If Ake would have played all year at left back, he'd have been in at left back for me. But he got chopped and changed with Gvardiol. He didn't have a long enough season to make it in at left back, so spoiler alert, none of them are my left backs. Ben White all season in at right back, from the odd occasion where I think Tomiyasu, or was he on the left? I feel like at some point he might have come in. Kivior's plays on the left, doesn't he? And Zinchenko. So I feel like Tomiyasu's come in at times. But I just think he's added goals, he's added assists, he's looked solid. He gives me the complete same when I look at Ake or Gvardiol, because they're not fullbacks. Ben White looked like a centre half playing out wide, which is what they look like. But yet he's done that all season to the point where they've come just shy of winning the title. They've just come just short, and he's been available all year.
Okay, well, he's not in the team next season.
In what team next season?
No, he's just not in the team next season. He's not in the starting lineup next season.
For Arsenal?
Yeah.
What, you think they go and sign someone?
No, Timber's there.
Oh, well, yeah, of course, yeah. Well, see, that's another thing. He's stepped up in absence of a player. They've signed a player specifically to take that role, and he's had to go back in there and do it. I don't like picking him in there. I don't even like the guy, but I think he's clear of everybody else. Unless you put Walker in. But I think he's had a little spell when he was out. I'm sure at one point he missed like 2 or 3 games. And I just think it's a bit more credit. Walker's a bit of a boring pick, as much as we all know he's the best right back in the league, or one of.
I think
Trent missed too much football for me.
Pedro Porro, for his first season in the Prem, I think he's done amazing.
I think he has, but
people aren't rating him as much either. Like, I'm so baffled at it. Like,
he finished 4th or 5th, and Arsenal finished 2nd, so that's kind of the direction I've gone with.
I know, but I don't do that.
I think Porro's a better player. I think Walker's a better player. I think Trent's a better player, but I'm picking Ben White.
Okay.
I told you we wouldn't have the same team here. They're all the same now after that.
Yeah. Right, so you centre back partnerships. This is where I go back onto the Arsenal train. I've got Saliba and Gabriel.
Yeah, I've got Saliba and Gabriel.
Yeah, you can't really put anyone else.
No, you look at Man City, like Diaz is always impressive, but for me, they've leaked too many goals.
I mean, there's a shout for Van Dijk, but
there is a shout for Van Dijk.
That partnership has done way too much this season to even get a second guess, really.
The only way Van Dijk would have got in is if I did do a 5 at the back or a 3 at the back.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
That's why Carragher went 3 at the back.
I've got 3 of my 4 defenders are Arsenal defenders in this team.
Yeah.
But they've got the best defence in the league, and that's also why I didn't put Raya in, because I think that defence has been pivotal to how solid they've been. And I do think that Ben White's been part of that. Defensively, he has been good. So yeah, Gabriel and Saliba. I think Gabriel maybe doesn't get the plaudits he deserves, because Saliba is almost renowned as the main man.
Do you remember at the start of the season we were saying what's going on, because Arteta wasn't playing Gabriel and there was like a falling out, and then all of a sudden he came in and he just hit the ground running.
I really don't know what happened with that.
No,
I don't know if Arsenal fans know what happened.
It makes you wonder, like, will it just pick up again next season and he ends up getting another centre-back in?
Well, the thing is, I think when you're that good as a pairing, like, they must know together now, and the manager must see it, and the team around them. We need to keep these playing.
Yeah,
I know you can't help injuries and things like that, so you got to hope that they keep fit. I don't think you want to disturb that.
No.
But, Arteta brought in another goalkeeper when we don't think it was needed. It looks like it's done all right for him this season.
Well, people said it wasn't needed because they actually believed the nonsense that were coming out of his mouth, saying, I'm going to swap and change him all season. No,
he did for a bit.
For a bit.
Yeah.
But his intention was always to replace Ramsdale. He just didn't think he was good enough.
It disrupted Ramsdale massively, though. I think mentally he was finished then, because his performances were quite poor after that.
Yeah. He'll probably get a move next season.
You wouldn't imagine he'd be happy sitting on the bench. No. He's good enough to start for someone else. So,
okay, you left back.
This one, I won't take all the credit for how I've pulled this player in. I've had to do a bit of research for this, because this, I think, is the hardest position in the team of the season to do.
There's not many left backs out there.
And the ones at the top clubs, I look at the back end of the season from Gvardiol at left back, unbelievable. Can I put him in a team of the season? I didn't feel like he played enough minutes there. Even though he played there early in the season, I thought he was poor at the start. I thought he looked a bit shaky. I've gone with Anthony Robinson from Fulham. I started looking up some of the stats, and when I looked at them, it was nailed on for me. I don't know if you've got him or someone else.
No, I haven't got him, but I'm not going to argue with it, because I actually really liked him this season.
Yeah,
I think he's done really well.
I didn't know a lot about him. They signed him till 2028, I think, last season. But I'll read you some of these out now, just while I've got it, because I made sure I screenshotted this at the time.
Yeah.
So as a left back, this isn't in general, of course. Chance created from open play, he's first for left back. Successful crosses first. Successful cross percentage first. Possession won first. Duels won first. Progressive carries first. Passes into the final third first.
Yeah.
I was just looking at them numbers, compared to the other left backs in the league, and I thought I'll take that. And I'm not going to say I've watched him all season and thought he's been a blinder, but I thought he's been good when I've watched Fulham.
Yeah, he has been good, and part of that is obviously Fulham do like attacking down that left side. I've gone a doggy just because of how impressive he was.
I thought he was really good at the start of the season. Similar to Porro, although he's been better, and obviously a doggy was out injured, isn't he, until the end of the season?
He's only missed 10 games, a doggy. And
it was the back end of the
10.
season, wasn't it?
So I feel like you can still justify having him in the team this season, I think.
Yeah, it's not, missing 10 games isn't too bad, and I do think in his first season when he was playing, he was making a big impact.
Yeah.
And if he puts this injury to one side and recovers, I'm expecting him to be just as good again next year. I think the reason I'm not sort of thinking Spurs players in my head is I feel like they're horrible, horrible running. I know they've won today, but albeit against a relegated Sheffield United.
Yeah.
I think back to the podcast starting at the start of the year, Spurs were doing this, Spurs were doing that, Ange Postecoglou this, It was a huge, huge talking point, and the way that train absolutely just derailed.
Yeah.
And let's be real, they were never supposed to be up there.
Didn't it start derailing when they started getting the injuries? They got an injury to Van der Ven and Maddison, and I remember they started to lose a few, and we was like, oh, the wheels are falling off.
Romero had got a red card at some point, I think. He missed a few games, and
that's not a shocker, is it?
No, I mean that's typical, isn't it? But yeah, so I've gone Robinson, and you've gone for Udogie, which I think's fair enough.
I like the Robinson pick, to be fair, and obviously you can't argue with them stats, can you?
That's kind of what I thought when I was looking into it.
I have seen them stats. Where did it show it on Sky or something?
I don't know. I'd been looking through Twitter and seeing what people had put, and then I was like, now I'm gonna have to research this because I don't believe Twitter. But they're all talking about it, so I've gone for that.
Right. So I've got. Well, I'll say my two holding midfielders.
Okay.
But do you have one holding midfielder?
No.
Right. So two holding midfielders. So Rice and Rodri.
They can't not be in.
Yeah. Rice and Rodri are definitely in. I don't think there's no one out there that's doing a team a season and hasn't got these two players in.
I just don't think you can. Rodri is one of the best players in the league, 100%. One of the best passers in the league. He's one of the most comfortable. He's the player that sets the pace. He's good at tracking back, defending. Controls. There's nothing this guy can't do. He scores goals as well, like we discussed on the pod last week. His numbers have been good for goals and assists. Gets a goal today on the final day.
Didn't they say like 50 games unbeaten now or something?
50 games unbeaten in the Prem. City as well haven't lost at home this year, which is, I can't even fathom that. We could lose on the first game of the season. But I just think he has to go in. It's unquestionable. I know he had a couple of games when he was out, and that, if anything, made me think he needs to be in even more because City were so poor without him. And you can't not put Rice in just because they play a similar position. You can't compromise this team of the season and say, well, Rodri's better than Rice, so he's still the signing of the season, even though they didn't win the league. Because we were probably looking at people like Cole Palmer, but if did it need Arsenal to win the league for Rice to be signing of the season?
Yeah,
it's crazy that, isn't it?
Or they needed to get a few more points, probably.
No, I don't think that would have mattered because if they still fell short, I feel like we wouldn't have picked him.
So if I put as my player, have we done one?
I don't think we've done a signing of the season, have we?
No, we haven't.
No, we've done like players of the season, which we'll get into and stuff. Okay. But yeah, I think
maybe we'll do a prediction of a signing of the season next season then.
Yeah, but I think Rice was a great addition. I mean, he scored an own goal today. Actually, it was a big headed deflection.
Oh yeah.
I thought Idrissa Gueye just put it straight in. I was like, wow, the movement on that ball. And then I watched it, I was like, I'm such an idiot. That movement is not technically possible. But I think they both have to be in there. And I know, to be fair, at times this season, Rice hasn't played as deep. He's been given the license to go.
He has, yeah.
So maybe when I said before about you can't have him and Rodri because they're similar in that sense, I do think Rice will see in his career now he will probably play a bit further forward. He'll still always be that guy. But I think really what Arsenal do want is they want that safety net behind him.
Yeah.
I don't think they want him to be the safety net, for example.
The thing is, them sort of players you do want in your team. So if he can play as one going forward, then say he was in the City team, Rodri gets injured, you wouldn't have any issues with dropping Rice back into that position because you know he can play it.
I'd say the only argument for going back to as well for saying he could still be signing this season, which I don't think a lot of Arsenal fans probably make the case, is how big would have that gap been if they didn't sign him? How much of a difference has he made to Arsenal this season? You know, they
were close last season without him.
And I know, but do you think that's what I mean? It's a question you could ask that's stupid because it's something you would never know. But there's games this season where he scored
last season.
Yeah, I think they look like they had the edge this year at times, and whether or not. But last year they dropped a bigger lead. But I think City were probably better this year.
I think he's definitely up there as one of the signs of the season, because you can look at that in the same way you've just said it. Or would they have been that close without Rice? But would Chelsea have been relegated without Palmer?
I don't think so. But I mean, they probably would have been a lot further down the table. We might have finished above them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in unanimous decision. I don't think there's too much to explain. I think most people would agree.
So my one that's going behind the striker is Odegaard.
Same.
Yeah.
Which I debated. I've kind of had to do that just for the other players.
I thought you would anyway. I think you like him, don't you?
No, I really do. But if it came between him and a certain someone else, he doesn't quite make it.
De Bruyne.
No. De Bruyne isn't getting this team. Not played enough minutes.
It was a bit weird. Like Carragher put it in his, and I was like, what?
Everybody knows that De Bruyne on his day is, if not the best player in the league, one of, and certainly the best at what he does.
So who are you on about putting in then?
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
All right.
So Odegaard, I already said, I think this is what we talk about Rice. Then I said last week, I think he's more important than Rice to Arsenal. And maybe that we sort of unravelled that a bit then, where we were saying, well, they didn't have Rice last year. Odegaard's been there both years. He's the captain. He's a creative genius. He's fantastic on the ball.
To be a captain at a young age like that as well, it's really good. Says a lot.
This guy's been young forever, hasn't he? I think I remember when he broke, when Real Madrid signed him and he was like
16, wasn't it?
Yeah, 16, and you think that was obviously a long time ago now. He drops deep, he dictates the play, he moves the ball around, he makes space for others.
Yeah.
Which is how I think about Bruno when we watch him for United. So Odegaard in, easy.
Right wing.
Signing of the season.
Signing season.
He's in.
Palmer.
Has to be. Sheer numbers. I think the factor that nobody... I refuse to believe anyone on this planet except maybe Cole Palmer or his own mum and dad, and maybe some of the scouts from Manchester City thought that was possible in his first season at struggling Chelsea.
I don't think his own mum and dad would have thought that.
It's beyond his wildest dreams. And obviously the penalties help the numbers, but the numbers are fantastic without the penalties. And if you watch the guy play and you're watching Chelsea, and I hope that we get to see him in an England shirt as well, you see that he's got so much more to his game. He's got every type of goal in his locker.
It's also worth noting as well, some of them were pressure penetties. Like,
yeah, they're big
last minutes
games
of the game.
Yeah. And you still got to score them.
Did want to beat...
beat us?
Beat us, yeah. Beat United.
No, it was to level it against us, then he scored after that. But, still a pressure penalty to take it to a draw.
Who's your left winger?
So this is where I was discussing the Odegaard one, because if there was another left winger in contention, I would have put Foden in the midfield.
I'd probably agree with that.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's where everyone wants to see Phil Foden there.
Yeah.
And he does play there for City.
Yeah.
So, well, he's played everywhere for City.
Yeah, he's played in the middle as well this season. So,
but everybody's known how good Phil Foden is. He's got 6 Premier League titles already, and albeit in some of them he's played bigger parts than he has in others. Same with the Champions League campaign last year. I think not only because this is his record scoring season, but take that off the table. This is the year where he has been that guy for Man City, and I think that's the first time he can claim that. He's played a massive part, scored some great goals, and been a fantastic talent the whole time that he's been there, and since Guardiola brought him through.
Yeah.
But this year he's been the man. I know that you could say Rodri's that guy, which is fair, but Foden, in the absence of De Bruyne, when he's been out for a big bulk of this season, he's been the guy scoring the big goal. Even today, you got to win today. All right, I'll go stick it in top corner after 79 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, he's won Player of the Season, the Premier League Player of the Season. I think he's a Ballon d'Or contender, and I want to see him playing behind the striker for England.
Yeah.
That's what it has to happen now for me. I don't care who has to move for that.
I don't think it will.
I don't think it will, but that's Southgate for you. But I don't know how you can watch him churn out those performances that he has this year, and I say he's been fantastic for seasons gone by, but this year to me, he's put in that has been the level, the best he's ever played at this season.
Left wing for City and Pep isn't the same as left wing for England.
No, so he will be stuck out wide for England.
Well,
genuinely,
he will be stuck out wide for England. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
And Pep, he lets them go everywhere. Like it's not just stuck out wide. He comes in the centre and starts linking play up. With England, I don't think he'll do that.
And I still think he can be fantastic for us there. I'm not saying that if we play him out wide, but I just think it's a waste when you've got, you're looking at it. Okay, maybe you'd say Jude's got to play there. Or I don't know. Let's fucking play two of them there. I don't know how you make that happen. Yeah. But for me, you've got to accommodate it. You've got to make it work. And he had to be in this team. I've put him out on the left wing because it makes the team easier to balance.
I've put him there as well. Who's your striker?
It's Watkins for me. Have you gone for the same? Your best mate? I didn't know if you'd have him,
Yeah, I couldn't put Haaland in because, let's face it, I know he's the top goal scorer. He scored 5 in one game.
Yeah.
That's boosted it up.
He's unbelievable, but he plays for Man City and he's a victim of his own previous success here because I'm looking at it and saying the drop-off in his actual performances to last year is relatively significant.
Yeah, but if you're looking, this is team of the season. You're looking for the
and
best
he's been
players.
Out. He was out for a spell as well.
Yeah, you're looking at the best players over the season, and Watkins is that.
I think the assists
got
as well.
figures on assists as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be very, very harsh not to put Watkins in, more so than not to put Haaland in. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some City fans there that'll think you've got to have Haaland in. He's Golden Boot winner. He's won 2 Premier Leagues in his first 2 years. Etc. Etc. And I'd agree with you to an extent, but Watkins just has to be in. All the other players had to be in, and I think Watkins personally has had a better season than Haaland. And I think it's similar to last year when people were talking about Kane and the numbers he put up compared to Haaland, and Haaland's in that Man City team. I'm not discrediting the achievement, and it's still brilliant.
Yeah,
but that's a poor season from Haaland, and that's just praise to him from me.
Yeah.
Because he can do a lot better than that.
I mean,
which is insane. But Watkins for me is in there.
13 assists. He's topped the assist leaderboard.
Oh, for the end of the season, did he get it? Did he come out top?
Yeah, 13 and 19 goals.
Great output. And Villa have qualified for Europe, Champions League.
Yeah,
and he's a massive part of that.
Yeah,
so he has to be. Doesn't have to be in. If you put someone else in, that's up to you. Watkins has to be in for me for that.
You said they were going to be different. The only difference we've got is the fullbacks.
I didn't think we'd have the same fullback. I didn't know if you'd have a different keeper either. I wasn't completely sure.
No, yeah, I like Pickford.
And then Van Dijk, I thought maybe...
No.
And then I know your feelings on Watkins, so I thought maybe you'd stick him out and you'd have Solanke in there.
No, I've got to say Watkins. I think, I've always said it, he could... This is the credit to him, actually. Well, not credit to him, actually, because he should be taking it. But I think he's very wasteful. So imagine if he was more clinical.
Yeah.
The stats that he could come up with.
That's almost like Haaland. Like, I don't think he's wasteful. I'm not saying that, but some of the chances I've seen him miss this year, his numbers could have been unbelievable. I did make a little shortlist, despite the fact we've probably actually mentioned them all during our discussion there. I made a shortlist of honourable mentions.
Okay.
Which
Just
were...
quick fire him.
Haaland, Gvardiol, Trent, Porro, Saka, Udogie.
So I think Trent's okay shout. He's getting nowhere near it for me because he spent a lot of time out.
That's why. But I think when he was playing at that level again,
he was good.
It's just because he was injured.
Yeah.
Haaland, I've just discussed why he don't make it in. Udogie, similar for me. Porro, similar for me. Saka, Saka's probably in if Parma doesn't exist. Like, who else gets in at right wing this season? There's no standouts, really, is it? Is it them two?
I mean,
or Salah?
I'd probably put Salah in above Saka, to be honest.
Well, I'm not sure about that. but you know what I mean, though? He's a shoe-in. Gvardiol, the way he's ended this season, Jesus Christ, this guy looks unbelievable at the moment. Yeah. But
I'd put Bowen over Saka.
Honourable mention, I'll allow it. But West Ham have stank, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know, at that point, I'm looking Liverpool and Arsenal have done a lot better than West Ham. And that's not Bowen's fault.
But Bowen's the reason why they haven't stank as bad as they would.
Maybe you're right. And Kudus was great at the start of the season, but he's not an honourable mention.
No.
He gets an honourable goal of the season mention for his attempt today, but he's not getting there. But, I don't know. Let us know what you think, if you agree with us.
I mean, to be honest, if Elise had a non-injured season, like a full season with no injuries, I think Elise would get in it.
Palace playing like they have been doing, there could be a fair few of them in there. If they had a season performing
Eze and Elise
the way
not
they've been
injured,
performing.
Oh.
But you'll have to let us all know what you think.
Yeah.
Do you agree with us? Is there any glaring omissions? I think we've discussed anybody that should be near it. Even if we've not put them in, I think we've mentioned them.
A petition to get Levi's Ben White out of the team of the season.
I kind of hate it myself. I'm not a big Ben White fan, but I don't know what it was, I didn't think there was too much of a difference between him and Porro's performances. I think Porro's a better footballer, but I think Ben White over the course of the season deserves some credit. So I've done it with his nice tan.
Mark my words, he's not in that starting lineup next season.
Timber gets injured first day. White plays right back all year. Arsenal win the league.